Hello again, I am Jim Bob, and welcome back to Big Bud Farm. We're back. It's 3 months since we were last here on Mustang Valley, and well, some stuff has changed actually since you were last here. Over the last 3 months, I have been working on this farm on and off. Just doing little bits here and little bits there to update the equipment roster a little bit and add a few bits and bobs in here and there and try and progress the farm just a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit. The main reason we stopped recording was I just needed to step away and take a break from this farm for a while. So I didn't go on it at all for about a month to 6 weeks. Just added in little bits here and little bits there, and then in the build up towards Christmas, around the time I was actually getting ready to start, getting organised for moving house, I actually started to do a fair bit of work here and there to make some changes to this farm, ready to get it relaunched in the new year. So, for those of you who are new to this playlist, I do highly encourage you to check the rest of the series out. I will pop a link to the first episode down in the description of the video, so you'll be able to see that. And please do check out the early part of this series. For those of you as well that are new to the channel or new to this series, let me run you through the basic premise of Big Bud Farm. So obviously we're playing on Mustang Valley. Let's pull up the map here. As you can see, very big fields. Huge, great big fields. We are in the position where we own Field 3 and Field 5 as per normal. We also own Field 1. This is a field that we have to work for and pay for with real cash. And we are working towards owning Field 2 and Field 4 as well. Now, this is a hard playthrough, so money mods do not work on this playlist, and I deliberately wanted this on hard, with the challenge of owning all of the fields completely legitimately. And the easiest way to do that, and to prove that it's been done legitimately, is to do it on hard, because you cannot add in mod money when you're playing on hard. It's impossible. So, we have been a little bit clever with some of our contracting in the past, where we've kind of gone with lower equipment on the job selection and then substituted a wider or a larger header on a harvesting job, for example. That's pretty much it. And that's given us an extra 100 to 200,000 on the job, as opposed to using the equipment that was suggested to us, or using larger equipment. But apart from that, everything is completely legitimate. So we built a forest up here, and we did some lumber work. They still have half the forest. This side here, on the left-hand side, that's been completely cut down and cleared away. We still have the trees here on the right-hand side of that. We still have our beet plant down here, and I'll take you through a tour of that, because that's been updated and refreshed and improved a little bit. And we still have our animals. We still have our cows over here, and we still have our sheep over here. We haven't had pigs on the farm, and there's no plans immediately to bring pigs in, but we may well look at bringing pigs in the future. But what I want to do is kind of give you a quick rundown of the equipment that we have and show you some of the changes that we made with the equipment roster as well. So you can see we have our two bale trailers all lined up here, and here we have our two grain trailers. We have a trolley here, a dolly to connect everything together, and there is our 950 Legend, still sitting here proudly on our farm. The voucher is still here to do all of our sort of like weeding work and small scale stuff, because we need a 3-point linkage. This is the easiest way to kind of handle that. This has actually got a huge number of hours on it, this tractor. As you can see, 53.3 hours. This has got more hours on it than most of my other vehicles, pretty much all of my other vehicles combined. Done an awful lot of work in this little voucher. And I've added a third Big Bud 450, so we now have 3 of these. So each of these first two have got about 20 odd hours on them each. We now have a brand new one with 0 hours on it as well. And then through here we have, of course, still the 747. Hasn't done a huge amount, but it's going to be featured a little bit more regularly in this second half of the series. Popping through here, we still have our auger wagon. We've also now added in a Stratman Terra Vitesse the 50,000 litre loading wagon just here. We still have the Penta, although it's more for just kind of moving stuff around the farm now than anything else. And you'll notice that the Massey mower we had has gone. That's been sold. No longer need that, and you'll see what we've replaced that with in a moment. Coming around the back, this is where our fertilizing unit section is now. So you can see we have our big Breedle fertilizer spreader in here now, and then next door we have an Amazona Pantera. Been wanting to use one of these since the mod came out, and now we have one of these on the farm, so we can really spray the crops quite quickly and quite effectively using that. Down here the equipment roster is still the same, so we still have the two New Holland CR1090s, we still have the assortment of headers, we have a 10.5 metre Gregoire Bessol plough, and then we still have the 24 metre FlexiCoil cultivator, the YP2425A Great Plains Cedar, and the Hatzenbischler Terminator. Still have those, nothing there has changed. And then I'm just going to grab our truck. The only other thing is we've actually sold off some of our other little bits of smaller equipment as well. So in this side shed here we had, this is originally where we kept the voucher, we had the weeder, that's still here. We also had a baler in here, that's moved, we still have it but it's moved. We had a Kroner tedder and a Kroner windrower. In fact, no, we didn't have the Kroner windrower, we had the the Kuhn merger. Those are both gone. Sold those, don't need those anymore. And there was something else in here as well, I think, but that has also gone. What we do have is we have a little 4 metre Lemken Dolomit for creating fields, and then behind that we hook up the Kuhn subsoiler, also 4 metres. They connect together quite nicely, so we can plough and cultivate a fresh piece of road, so to speak, in one single movement. And then we have a roller just to tidy up the edges. I think something in there is leased. Let's have a look. Those two pieces are leased. We own the plough, but everything else in there is owned. So that's this sort of lineup of equipment in the shed there. I've brought the fuel point here out into the open a little bit more because it was originally in this section here. We're actually going to be, getting a Mustang to go in there at some point. This is Mustang Valley, so we kind of need to have a Mustang really. And we still have our truck here, and of course with our toolbox just sitting on there as well, it makes this a custom workshop bay as well, which is quite nice. So let's take a tour around the rest of the farms, or the rest of the farm areas. Over at the bottom of field 1 we have that sort of secondary farm location where we have those sheds, and nothing else has really changed over there. We still have the farmhouse placeable, we still have the mill placeable, and that's pretty much all we added over there. And then the two mother bins that we have, the two MBT mother bins, they are, or the Bromar mother bins, they're still stored down there, but there's no other equipment over there at the moment. That may change going forward, but for now that's kind of all that's down there. And towards the end of the first run of Big Bud Farm, you saw that we started building this area. I've gone in and I've tried to finish the area off. It's not quite complete, but it's almost there now. So as we drive in, you'll notice we've got this kind of little pathway down here. We've got a utility shed, we've got a small little hut here, and obviously we've got a little sort of picnic area here for anyone who's down here working and wants somewhere to stop and eat. They've got we've still got the workshop and the pressure washer on the outside over here. This building hasn't changed, the equipment inside is still the same, but what we have got now is we've got a little bit more of the original dirt showing. So we've rolled back some of that cultivated ground and created pathways and dropped some trees in to add some life and some colour. And we've also added in some placeables as well. So you may remember I cut this path here. I just rolled this section out, and the reason I did this was to create a sort of a working width as to how wide I could get away from these before I was too far away to actually physically tip into these if I drove along here. So we now have kind of like a pathway limit, so to speak. And as long as I'm on this cultivated ground, I can tip straight into one of these. And then we just put some trees down there to give a nice line of separation. Obviously we've got the shed door just here, so we needed to have a big open area here to allow for vehicles to turn and position themselves. We've got a utility shed just here, a couple of the smaller huts just there, another utility shed, a large shed just there, and then we've got this awning here which we can park our truck in if we want to. And then just round the back we actually have an access route to go around the back there as well. So this area needs a little bit more work doing to it, but it's pretty much done. And we just jump back in the truck. Obviously we have all these trees here to add a little bit of colour and life into this area, and a bit of separation, bit of decoration around the back. There's plans to do trees all the way along this back line here as well, but they're 7,000 each, they're a bit expensive. And then we have trees separating out this area, and we now have a carved escape path which then takes us back out of the beat area. So there we go, that is our reworked or revitalized, completed almost beet production area over there. We've got storage for 1.2 million litres of beets. We've got all of our beet harvesting equipment and so on and so forth just there, and we've got some nice decoration and some placeables in there as well. So I'm kind of pleased with the way that's turned out. Moving on, the next stop is the BGA. So as I say, I have been doing quite a bit of work, especially in the last month or so. Been quite active on this farm, over on and off in little bursts here and there, to do quite a bit of work on these fields. So initially they were sort of all planted with grass, and I silaged all the grass on those fields. That took a long time. And once I'd chaffed all that grass, I planted corn. And then I chaffed all the corn as well. So we've got a lot of silage, and it's all fermented and it's all ready to go. It just needs the covers to come off. So as we pop in here, you'll see that ready and waiting for us are 4 bunkers, each one with over 2 million litres of silage in here. So if I just pull up the help window, this one here, it doesn't tell you because it's got the fermenting on, but yeah, each one of these, they're completely 100%. They all have over 2 million litres of silage. So we've got just over 8 million litres here waiting to be sold. Now, silage isn't a fantastic price on hard. Really not that great. So it sounds like a lot, but in actuality, there's probably about 2.5 million in price, in actual cash value across these 4 full bunkers. It's not a huge amount. It really isn't. We still have all these tools lined up around the side here. So our spotlights, our selection of conveyor belts. This is our JCB. This is actually now a really useful tool over here, partly with the bucket, but also I replaced the silage blade that we had, the Halaris leveler. We had the large one, and I've replaced it with the smaller one, which can actually be fitted not just to a 3-point linkage, but also to our JCB. So it makes the JCB much more versatile over here now. And obviously I've stuck a pressure washer in here to keep things clean as well. So that's kind of what's been going on in here. And as a result of making the wheel loader a bit more versatile and a bit more active, I've also got rid, if you remember, we had a JCB telehandler as well. That's gone. Sold that. Don't need that anymore. If we need to do movement of bales, we do that now using our JCB wheel loader instead. It didn't seem there was any real need or point to having the telehandler as well. It was just another piece of equipment that was just sitting there collecting dust and costing us money, so we got rid of it. Over here, still have the little shack with the bales. I've kind of replenished the stock here, so you can see we've got quite a few stacks of bales, but we need them because our animal numbers have actually gone up. We haven't bought any more animals, but they have just been breeding as the game's been running. So you can see we now have 210 sheep. When we first started this, we bought 100. In fact, I think we only bought 96. Can't remember if we actually went to 100 or if we stopped at 96. So everything else has been bred. I think we might possibly have purchased an extra couple of cows from the amount we first started with, but we've bred over 100 sheep effectively, and they are now producing wool at a very nice, comfortable rate. And we're up to 124 cows as well. You can see that they're going to need a little bit of work soon to just top them up with the relevant different materials that they need. Got our Junos on the different food troughs as well. Over here I've added this shed as a wool storage area, and I've also added in an IT runner trailer here as well, so that we can now transport more than one sort of trailer full of wool at once. So this has, as you can see, 20 pallets of wool stacked on it, and we have a second one there that's in the process of being loaded, so we can now carry effectively 40 pallets of wool down and sell all 40 pallets at once, to really maximize our money when it comes to selling. And then round the corner, this is how we're loading our pallets using the Linda forklift. With these dual long forks, very, very straightforward and easy to load onto one of these, and at any height as well, so we can get an extra stack on there quite comfortably. And you may notice this frame just here. Now again, for those of you that are newer to the channel, or newer to this playlist, or just new to Farming Simulator, the BSM Legend 850, the hook lift, when it first came out, was just a truck with this attachment. You had to buy the hook lift that fitted onto it, and it proved to be a little unstable in some situations, so it was quickly updated, and the truck came in two variants. It came as just a truck, and then a truck with this built into it. No detachable hook lift frame anymore. I kind of like this hook lift frame, so I haven't updated. In all the updates that we've had like 2, maybe 3 updates now for the BSM 850. I haven't updated this mod because I like this, because it means that I can still mount this on the back of my Terra variant. I can actually turn this into a hook lift. It's detached at the moment. That's because this really needs to be living back down with the rest of the beat equipment. But I can lift it on nice and comfortably with the hook lift, sorry, with a forklift, and then just drop it onto the top of that and then connect it up. And then my Terra variant becomes a hook lift truck. So yeah, I haven't updated my truck still, and I have no plans to do that just yet either. I do kind of like my hook lift Terra variant. Moving over to the cows, a little bit has changed over here as well. Not much, pretty much the same, just little minor tweaks here and there. So as before, we still have our sort of transport trailer parked up against the loading bay just there. Now you may remember that we had one of these, and it was the older style forage and chip silo, and it was actually closer to the fence as well. The way I had it before was I had the downpipe actually, if we move across to sort of closer to where it's up against the fence, the downpipe was on this side, and then around the other side was that little sort of scoop area where you would drop your stuff in. I placed one of these right next to it, and placed it like this so that we have a drive-in ramp now with the updated version of this silo. That's our area where we can pick up and, where we can unload our product into the silo, and then we have the downpipe on that side. It looked nicer, it looked a bit better, and I wanted to make that change. And obviously as well, you can also see that we have added in the Pecan Big Mega Momoet as well, the 64,000 litre mixer. So we have a lot of cows, as you saw, and we're only going to get more as they continue to breed. So we need something big. And oh, hello, great demand for wool. Fantastic. You just saw I have over 30 pallets of wool just sitting there waiting to be sold. That's really useful. So let's just quickly check the price on that. The price was initially pretty much in the toilet. A really, really poor red price of 3,400. It's now 4,000. That's still pretty low, but this is an 18-hour great demand, so that should go up. I'm going to keep an eye on that, and then we'll look to sell that off once the price stabilizes, because I'm pretty sure that's going to go up. We'll check in about an hour or two and see where we sit. Moving over here, we've had this for ages, the Veen Hewis slurry spreader, but we just only used it like the once, and then I completely forgot about it. I stuck it away in one of those big sheds over where the truck is parked, and I completely forgot about it. So I brought it up here and parked it up next to our big slurry tank. Kind of makes sense to put it here, you know, where its supply of slurry is kept. So this is going to live up here now, and it'll remind me that we have it, and we'll use this a bit more regularly as well, hopefully. And then I've added in as well the Brashaad manure spreader. I haven't used this at all since the Big Bud DLC was released. I haven't used it on any of my Let's Plays. Obviously I did quite a big in-depth review of the DLC when it first came out, and I tried it out and played about with it there, but on any of my Let's Plays I've never used this thing. So the mantra of Big Bud Farm has always been go big or go home. So we kind of have to try out the Brashaad on here, and we have a lot of cows now, so we're making a lot of manure. You can see we currently have, in terms of solid manure, 194,000 litres of manure. This thing holds 70,000 litres, so we're almost at 3 full loads for this Brashaad here. And we still have in the background there, you can see we have our 32,000 litre water tanker. That's still with us. But there we go. That is our kind of equipment up this end. There's one more kind of area I need to show you, and that is over by our custom forest. And you'll see that coming into view in a moment. So I think as early as like episode 10, 11, somewhere around then in the series, we actually started building a custom forest. Not a huge one, but we just enough. We built an area in one of these sort of open grass paddocks that we can use, and we planted a whole load of trees. You can see them coming into shot right now. There we go. Now half of that has been cleared away and deforested. We still have the other half, but the rest of it is still there. And we've also added in this facility just here. Now we'll come back to that in just a second. Nothing much has really changed over here. So I've continued to work it in the background. You've got a little pile of wood chips just there. But one thing I did do was, as I was updating my selection of mods and clearing out some that I wasn't using and updating with others, I removed the BSM 10-pack of sheds and completely forgot that I actually had one of them installed on this map. So it removed our vehicle shelter over here. So I've gone through the list of active mods that I currently have, and I've replaced it with this newer mod here. This does have lighting, although I'm not sure where the switch is. Just looking around to see if I can see a light switch. It may be automatic. It may just automatically come on at 9 PM. Oh no, there it is. There's the switch. And there we go. We have some lighting in here. But nothing else has changed. Our equipment lineup is still the same. So we still have our BSM logging trailer. We still have our chipper, our Scorpion, our Massey tractor, the 200 series with our logging claw. There's a weight around the back of it still attached. There we go. And a stump grinder, a spotlight trailer, and a couple of belts as well for our wood chips. All that's happened is I sold off the original pressure washer and bought a new one and put it on this side as opposed to the opposite side of the shed. So that's kind of all that's changed over here. But if we head back to the top, you'll have seen that big shed as we drove down here. That's new, and everything that's inside there is pretty much new as well. Not quite everything, but most of everything that's in there is new. And this is our Kroner Workshop. So as we drive in here, just going to park here for a second. There's one thing that I really, really love about this building, and that is the fact that you can place this over the top of pre-existing placeables. Now, with that in mind, I was very clever to in the way that I position certain things so that they drop in beautifully on the interior. I'll show you what I mean by that. If we go in through this side door here, we have a workshop in this little area, and then right next to that we have a pressure washer, and we have a little bit of clearance here at the sidewall, and it's R3 to access this symbol here, but L3 to access the pressure washer. So it doesn't matter that these are so close, they don't use the same controls, so they don't overlap with each other, which is really helpful. You can see in here the Big X 1100. We did have a Big X 580, that's gone, and replaced it with the 1100. We used the 580 for chaffing grass. We're using this, as you can see, with this big impressive header. We're using this for chaffing corn, and then behind it we have, from the Platinum expansion, this big white trailer here to collect corn, and then with its side tip makes it nice and easy to unload into other trailers waiting at the side of the field. And then if we go through here, we have another pressure washer, and it's really nestled right up against the wall, as you can see, but it's close enough away that it doesn't impact with the door, as you can see, and it's far enough away that it doesn't impact with the equipment there as well. So placing wise, that's worked out absolutely perfectly. I now have two pressure washers in each, one in each distinctive bay inside this building. Once you place this building, that's it. You cannot put any other placeables inside it, so you have to kind of put those things in first, figure out, you know, your spacing, and then drop the building over the top of them, and that's how you get to do that. And we have this. We have the Big M, this big old beastie. You can see it's a little bit dirty because it has been used. This has been on Big Bud Farm now for about 2 months. Obviously, why you haven't seen it, because we stopped recording about 3 months ago. Yeah, this is wonderful. I love it. It's fantastic. I've been using it on and off on my private farms ever since it first came out, and now finally it's the time to actually unleash it on one of my Let's Plays. Again, we're going big or we're going home on Big Bud Farm. So, this is our new mowing system, and then next to it we have a trail lifter and a hay bob. Seems a little bit weird, doesn't it? But there's a very good reason for this. The trail lifter is to give us the ability to actually hook the hay bob up to our Big M, because it has a trailer attachment. It doesn't have any kind of 3-point linkage. Plus it also gives us a distance connection as well. It means that it's far enough back that it's not too close, and will sit behind the mowers and behind where the grass collects, because this windrows the grass for us, which is again why we no longer have the Kroner merger. We didn't need it with this thing. So this basically will ted the grass that we cut, but because it's a small hay bob, it keeps it all nice and neat in a single row as well. It doesn't spread it all over the place and mean that we have to go over with a windrower afterwards to tidy it back up again. So this here is specifically for making hay with our Big M, and it works really, really well. I've been doing this ever since it came out, you know, with this particular technique, and it works brilliantly, and you'll see that very, very soon, probably in the next episode actually of this series. The mower has been moved up here, our big pack mower. Obviously this is our Kroner Workshop, so it made sense to bring this up here. And we moved the auto stack up here as well, our 16 bale auto stack. That's now up here as well. So this is kind of like mower merger, mower and chaffer central. You know, all of our equipment that we need to make our bales and our hay and our grass and do any straw baling, it's all kind of kept up here, out of the way, and that way it's easy access to, you know, most of the points on the map as well. Let's just close that door. Oh, left the other one open. We'll go out this way. There we go. And there we go. That is, say that's our Kroner Workshop. So, again, it's a very expensive building. It's like 125,000. It's not cheap, but it is fantastic. We're using one of these as well in our beet storage area. Oh, I need to turn the light off. There we go. So yeah, there we go. That is kind of pretty much everything on this farm now. So let's just take a look at our animal chart. You can see we need to do some work to improve our animals a little bit. Now, our sheep have got quite a bit of food, but they're running low on water. Our animals are running low on pretty much everything for the cows, so we're going to need to clean up and tidy up after those a little bit. You know, get their food levels topped up, get their water levels definitely topped up. And as you saw, or you might have seen, we don't have the greatest amount of product in terms of hay, so we're going to be doing some hay very, very soon. We have 187,000 litres of silage in our forage and chip silo, 211,000 litres of straw, 274,000 litres of grass, but only 69,000 litres, just under 70,000 litres of hay. So we definitely need to top that up, and we'll be doing that very, very soon. That'll be the next thing that you see us do, probably in the next episode. As for the rest of our grains, well, we have nothing. It's all been sold to finance the improvements to our farm in general, and also the upgraded or replacement equipment that you see that you've seen today as well. Prices are terrible for everything, as you can see. It's because it's a hard farm, so there's a lot of hard graft involved. But these two fields, as I say, these are fully discounted. It's going to take us, I think, 5.1 million to buy field 2. It's going to take us 6.7 million to buy field 4. And we have, as always, a pretty much fully maxed out loan on this farm. So it's going to take us a little while to get up to speed. And there are more bits of equipment that I want to add into this farm, but this is kind of a good starting point for us to get back up and running again. So we're going to be planting away on our fields. We're going to get a lot of soybean into our ground. So field 1, 3 and 5 all going to do soybeans. And then we're just going to do that for a couple of runs. We're going to start doing some other high value crops. I'm going to do a lot of contracting off screen like I have been doing in the past. You know, we've already sunk 375 hours into this farm so far. We've got this great demand for our wool, which is coming at a great time because I have a whole load of wool sitting there waiting to be sold. So we'll make sure that jumps up a bit. Let's actually just whack time up to 120 as well for a second. So we're going to make a load of money pretty quickly. And of course, don't forget, we're sitting on 8 million litres of silage as well. So we'll be selling that off very soon as well. So it's not as hard a slog to get to field 2 as you might think. Our silage sale, a round of crops, our wool, and a couple of contract jobs. And we're pretty much there, I think. So, yeah. Very, very soon we will have field 2 to add into our roster of fields. And then we'll be able to make a really strong push to own field 4. That's pretty much it then for this episode. Let's just check in on our great demand price. No change just yet, but like I say, this is going to last an 18-hour great demand. Oh, and there we go. You can see it's starting to go up. As the weather turns all crappy and horrible in the background, you can see that the price of our wool is now starting to climb, and now it's starting to shoot up a little bit. So I'm going to keep this going in the background and see where this kind of settles, and then when we come back we'll sell off our wool, we'll do some hay work, and then we'll get to planting our next round of crops. So welcome back to Big Bud Farm. Thank you so much for returning. Really hope you enjoy everything that we're going to be doing in the second half of this series, and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon.